The Alberta Historical Resources Act was passed in 1973, and it was extended in 1976 to cover paleontological resources as well. Overall, the Act protects not just paleontology, but also archaeological and historic resources in the province. And in many ways, this Act was well ahead of its time. It's something that, in fact, has ensured that we still have many of the fossils and archaeological and historical resources that have been destroyed or sold in other parts of the world. And I think it's something that has greatly aided our future in the world of paleontology. I kind of walked into the middle of the creation of the Historical Resources Act in its extension into paleontological resources. So when I first came to Alberta, one of my duties was to kind of guided through all the politics of people who were upset because they were working for universities and hadn't had to apply for permits up to that point, so there was more paperwork imposed on them, to commercial collectors who were upset because they couldn't go out and collect and sell the fossils anymore, to amateur collectors and people just with an interest in going out and picking up bones for educational purposes. They were upset because, of course, they felt that that also imposed on their freedoms. So it was an interesting time to come into the whole thing because I think we developed something in the long run that everybody felt they could live with, even the commercial collectors. The Alberta Historical Resources Act, I think, is an act that is very much admired by a lot of other countries and a lot of other governments, be they state, provincial, municipal, or federal governments in other parts of the world. And it was passed, I think, to a large extent because of the fact that people did recognize that dinosaurs were an important resource, and there were dinosaur fossils that were being destroyed by the indiscriminate construction, shall we say, that went the easiest route sometimes. Pipelines could, for example, go through the Badlands and destroy fossil resources without any kind of protection. We also heard many stories of people who were involved in mining who would deliberately destroy dinosaur fossils because of the fact that they happened to be in the way, and they knew if they told anybody about them, then their activities would be stopped while somebody came in to study them, perhaps for years, and hold up their own progress and their own profit making. Of course, some of these tales are hearsay, and other ones I think are well grounded on fact. The other aspect of this was, of course, back in the period between 1910 and about 1925, a lot of dinosaur skeletons left the province of Alberta and they went to other parts of the world, mostly to New York and Ottawa and Toronto, but to many, many other institutions. And there were a lot of people here who felt that that wasn't right either, that really we should have control over our own resources of dinosaurs. So when the Historical Resources Act was passed, I think in 1973, it didn't actually include paleontological resources. But 3 years later, because a lot of people were pushing to have it cover paleontological resources, by 1976, fossil resources were finally protected in the province of Alberta. Now, it's the kind of act that I've said many other governments would like to have, and it's because it is very inclusive. It includes not just government-owned property, but it also includes private lands, and basically the Alberta government has claimed ownership of all fossil resources. This has got us around a lot of problems that other parts of the world have now encountered. So for example, when you look at the laws in the States, last year they finally passed a law to start protecting fossil resources more carefully, but they're not protected completely. And they're certainly not protected on private land. And so we have an unusual and very undesirable situation now in the United States where in many cases, professional paleontologists are completely banned from going on private lands to collect fossils because private collectors and commercial companies have deals with the landowners where they can go on and pay the landowners a certain amount of money for the fossils that they find and sell worldwide. You can say, well, okay, there's lots of fossils of some types of animals. Who cares about another piece of dinosaur bone? But some of the fossils that are being collected are in fact animals and plant fossils that are unique, completely unique, never been found anywhere before. They're brand new animals and plants that have never been named before, and they're being sold outside of the United States to museums in Japan or China or Europe. And so suddenly you have a situation where the most important fossil specimens, the first ones that bear the name of a new animal or plant, are in fact not in the country of origin anymore. And I think there's all kinds of very strange things that happen as a result of this.